Technology was going to bring us all together. It did not succeed. We, as a society, are lonelier than ever, more disconnected, and unable to live well with those whom we disagree. If we are going to reconnect and discover true friendship, it will require great effort. But this effort can be a joy and a wonderful journey. I want to share with you about a group I am a part of and encourage you to do what we have done to create friendship in your life and bring people back together. With your permission, let us share the story of the May Club.
It's only one step till we're finally free. I'm ready for you if you're ready for me. Yeah. Are you ready to breathe? Are you ready? There's only one step till we're finally free. I'm ready for you if you're ready for me. Are you ready to breathe? Are you ready?
If you were talking to somebody and they had never been on a trip, never been on a May Club trip, and there was one thing you would tell them that might help them decide that this is something that they need to make the time and commitment to do, what do you think it might be?
You know, there's that saying that hurry is not of the devil, it is the devil. And we all get so busy in our lives with our jobs and everything else. We start thinking that a lot of the things that we do, like, you know, what our job position is who we are, and makes us who we are. And a lot of guys are just running around out there with absolutely no real purpose. You know, they think, well, I've got to provide for my family, and I got to climb the ladder, and you know, I've got to have the right friends, and I've got to go to the right places, and I just think that men lose their way.
Whether it were 4 of us on a lake in Arkansas, or 20 of us back at that same lake again some years later, or 5 of us here 10 years ago, and now there's 20 of us here 10 years later in the same place. It may become big. It may stay big. It's become big. But it wasn't about that. It's still about the same things. It's about, you know, the fellowship and the time together in nature. And the other thing that I think is important for people to recognize is how special it is. You know, I don't know why, but men, you said it earlier, I traveled the world. I meet men all over the world. And I found out that what's fairly common around the world is men, we get busy in our lives, and we get further and further from our friends, and we know people, but we don't really have friends. You lose somewhere around 20, you start getting into your adult life and growing up. This is special that you have this chance to have friends and share these moments together. And the May Club is really about fellowship and the friendship of men that men don't have. And the work that you guys have done keeping this alive all these years is really special. That's what I want people to know. Whatever it becomes, this is what it was.
I think this is a great way to remember and celebrate, you know, camaraderie and brotherhood, and it's certainly a fraternity of types, I guess, and an important tradition and a great escape, and a great time to learn. And we'll take all this stuff and use it in life. You know, people have been through divorces, and people who've been through job losses, and just people who've been sick and ill, and everybody's got a different story. And so when those things happen to you, you have those stories and those people to lean on to help you through, because life's not easy and not simple, and it doesn't always go your way.
Sounds good.
Viva la May Club.
That was me in 2005 on the 10th May Club. That was nearly 20 years ago, quite some time ago. A lot older now, and headed for our 30th May Club. It was really just fortunate to have it come together the way that it did. And all got started with David Rutherford and me just wanting to get away for a Memorial Day weekend. We didn't have much money. We were both working hard. And so I got off work from a radio station late at night, and he came and picked me up. We were in his Honda Civic, and we drove all night long to Lincoln National Park in New Mexico, and drove down all the gravel roads. Didn't know where to pitch a tent, but just finally found this place at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Pitched our tent, got some sleep, and when we woke up amongst pine trees and hills and the Sacramento Mountains, and it was just incredible. And we spent the next few days hiking and sitting around the campfire and cooking and driving into Cloudcroft every once in a blue moon, and just decided it was something we wanted to do again and again. And so the next year we went to Galveston, and the year after that we went to Twin Lakes, Colorado, and we started building more people along the way as we went, and just got bigger and bigger as the years went on, and grew into what it is today.
You invited me on a May Club back when we were neighbors, I met you in 1996, and how you asked me in that first year and I turned you down, and you asked me in the second year, turned down, and I think it was until maybe the third year that I finally decided that I was going to go on the May Club trip. And to this day, I still regret not going and missing out on those 2 prior years. Yeah. because the adventure that we go on all the time, I can't believe I missed out on that. Because going on May Club, to me, it woke me up. It was this camaraderie, these group of friends. Because at first I didn't know what it was, and I'm not the adventurous type. But through May Club, I learned that.
Most people can't wrap their head around what the May Club is, and when you try to talk to them about it or describe it, it seems like they find themselves yearning to be a part of something like this. And it's been an absolute privilege. It's incredible to be a part of such a fraternity of men like we have here. I joined in 2009. So must have been 13, 15 years, I don't know, long time. And it's interesting how when you experience adventures together with other men, and then you get to, break bread with them and share drinks with them and laugh with them, and they open up about their life and their problems, and you can open up about yours and your experiences. But those are lifelong bonds that are formed through that experience. And a lot of that begins with like experiencing a life together.
The invite to May Club was one of the most important things to me. Not knowing what it was, anything about it, was special because I'm from West Texas. I moved out to Fort Worth and didn't know anyone, didn't have any friends. Trying to find a church was extremely difficult. And yeah, I was kind of miserable being away from home. Everybody I went to school with grew up, and Don approached me about May Club and invited me, and it really meant a lot to me that here's someone that I don't know that would look at me and care enough to invite me on a very special trip. And it was the beginning of a great adventure.
One of the things that stuck out to me was the coming of age, or maybe more of like a mind blown moment with the May Club experience. And that would probably, for me, I think what I revert back to is just enjoying being the dumbest guy in the room. And me being one of the younger guys, it's nice just to kind of be the fly on the wall and listen to the guys that are ahead of me. So dealing with even if it's family life or work, or spiritual, I still do, but I can take from that experience. The guys that have already gone through what I'm going, my next steps, they're 3 or 4 steps ahead of me. So that has been a huge takeaway and benefit to me.
The May Club has always been about adventure. And as the ranks of the May Club have expanded, we've seen different men come in with different backgrounds and different experiences. And that's really been a big part of the draw to help make it interesting and fun and bonding for the new members, is that they come in and they get to experience things side by side with someone that's maybe done it for many years, and in a non-threatening environment where you can try it out, and it's okay that you don't know it and you want to learn it, and someone that can be patient and show it to you and then let you fully embrace and enjoy it. And that runs the gamut of many, many things. Clint Foster with his paintball systems, Monty and his four-wheelers to take people out four-wheeling, the rappelling in the Black Canyon. All of these different adventures are part of what give the flavor, the spice to the May Club.
Destination
First May Club trip that I took was Tiki Island. Stayed in the big 3-story house and just had a great time. It's grown from there. We probably had as many people staying in one house as when we go down there now. We stay in 2 or 3 houses. Comfort level's a whole lot higher than what it used to be.
Thinking back to my very first May Club, I remember that I called Don and wanted to ask him about some radio advertising, and I hadn't spoken to him since I was with Al Banker for 10 or 12 years or however long it had been. And he called me like the next day and said, hey, let's go to lunch. And we went to lunch. We had a great lunch. He shared his information he had for me about radio advertising and invited me to a May Club cookout at his house, where I decided to go and knew nobody, but we had a nice time and I met a lot of the guys. And shortly after that, he invited me to 2009 Die Hard to Mount Elbert. We stayed at Mount Elbert Lodge with the 9 of us packed into one Suburban with all of our gear, doing winter climbs basically. We stayed in this crappy lodge with 1 bathroom and 9 guys. And I had just come off a kidney infarction. I was in the hospital for 5 days. But we did it, and it was one of the best experiences I ever have. It's still, to this day, my lock screen on my phone. The picture of me on the peak that Don took of me as I was walking and the ice was pelting and my hood was blowing. There's a picture of that. And I think that kind of unlocked my adventure side. And since then, I don't know, I think he and Don and I climbed over 14 mountains together.
I think we went to the Black Canyon, right? And I remember climbing and looking down this cliff, and I'm scared. How am I going to get down this thing? But I also remember Richard being up there and talking everybody down. And made it down, and I wanted to go back and do it again after that first experience.
So I guess my awareness of the May Club was my dad going on the trips. So he would go and Dad, where were you? What'd you do? And we start seeing pictures, whitewater rafting, all sorts of just cool outdoor stuff. And at the time I was 15, 16, watching these trips, seeing the pictures, hearing the stories, and then I wanted to go. Well, you got to be over 18, and someone else has to invite you. So needless to say, I was pretty excited. I believe it was 19. My first trip was a Broken Bow.
I had a good friend who invited me to go to May Club for a couple of years, and I was reluctant to go. But after a couple of requests, I finally decided to go to Key West, Florida. And I didn't know anybody. I knew one guy out of 30, but the fraternity that this group had was unlike any other group I'd ever experienced before. It was a vast array of guys that were all welcoming, all friendly.
My first May Club, the main thing I remember was just sitting back and mostly just observing all the other guys and how they interacted with each other, how they talked around the fire or in between matches of cornhole, and seeing that it wasn't just guys hanging out, just talking along about nothing, about whatever sports thing that happened that week. It was a lot of really true, meaningful conversations.
We were in Moab, and I was having breakfast in the diner there in town. And here comes Steve and Kent and Ryan and Mike, and trying to figure out what they're going to do because it's raining. And they walk in the same diner, and before the day's over, we're taking the rental car they've got, and we're going all around the park there at Moab and taking in the parts of the park that none of us had seen before, and just taking a trail that goes down along the side of a cliff, thinking we're invincible again, obviously, right? that took 4 hours and went to parts of the park and on parts of the Colorado that were just amazing. And just being able to sit there and take that in with them and enjoy that and reflect back on what an accidentally perfect day, one of the most wonderful May Club days there was. It wasn't a bit of it planned. It was a makeup day.
Here I am today with my family, my oldest son filming from Canyonlands, and behind me is the Grand View. This is a place that I went in my 3rd year with May Club, a place that I may have never discovered. But here I am bringing my family back and showing them something, that May Club gave to me, and just hoping that this will just continue down the line.
My favorite trip is when we went to Moab and we went on this hike in the back country, and if it wasn't for this group of guys, I don't know, I'd probably still be laying out there on a rock somewhere.
We wake up into the morning and there's snow, deep snow covering the ground. We have a midday hike and it starts hailing. There is lightning striking around us. Michael Scott was doing the counting thing.
I think we saw all forms of weather that day. We had hail, we had rain, we had flood, we had heat.
Our rain poured down and we were in a flash flood. We were making human change just to get across some tough spots. And then it all went away and the sun came out with a heat of fury. And it was like the most crazy weather event I've ever experienced in my life.
We really had everything on that trip, and I remember Don and I think it was John Pribble that were holding me on the side of a rock, putting their feet down so I could step on it to get across, because we couldn't go down where the water was running. Who would have thought there would have been a flood that day and you're having to climb on the side of a rock to get across something. But that was probably one of the most memorable trips because of that I have been on.
And when it comes to May Club locations, I'm always in, regardless of where they are. But I'm kind of partial to locations that lend themselves to more activities, like Moab.
I just play the game. But that man doesn't know that I am bulletproof. Keep one foot on the sky and a foot on the roof. I'm not doing this to try to make a name. I just like the way it feels on it, the way it looks on me. Still got the fire when you try to be a flood. 'Cause I like the way it feels on it. That little rise, rise, rise to blow. I hear your secrets, I know your plans. Ain't no way out without your blood on my hands. I talk to demons, I scream your name. They always say the best for the businessman. I'm not doing this to try to make a name. I just like the way it feels on it, the way it looks on me. Still got the fire when you try to be a flood. 'Cause I like the way it feels on it. That little rise, rise, rise to blow. That rush of blood, I'll use it for good. That rush of blood, I'll use it for good. Throwing hundreds in the holy water. Just a backseat driver flying on the cover. Different faces, but they're always the same. Say they'll make you a star if you'll just sign your name. That man doesn't know that we are bulletproof. Keep one foot on the sky and a foot on the roof. I'm not doing this to try to make a name. I just like the way it feels on it, the way it looks on me. Still got the fire when you try to be a flood. 'Cause I like the way it feels on it. That little rise, rise, rise to blow. That rush of blood, I'll use it for good. That rush of blood, I'll use it for good. I'm not doing this to try to make a name. I just like the way it feels on it, the way it looks on me. Still got the fire when you try to be a flood. 'Cause I like the way it feels on it. That little rise, rise, rise to blow.
So May Club has kind of diversified a little bit over the years because people have come into the group that aren't as excited about, for example, climbing 14,000 foot mountains in Colorado. And some people are very content sitting on the porch reading a book, and which is a great thing to do. And other people like to bike, and other people like to hike. So, you know, the intensity of May Club has kind of changed to where, you know, we've got more excursions that aren't quite as aggressive. So we came up many years ago with Die Hard.
To this day, one of the regrets that I have had, and I got to find a way to remedy that, is outside of the actual May Club May 1st trip, which is always, you know, on my birthday, going on another trip, a Die Hard trip, and really challenging myself. That's next.
That adventure spirit that was a ingredient of the May Clubs could then be further explored in the fellowship of your closest friends, and you go make those achievements that you might not do on your own without the kind of agreed commitment to do some of these things. You might not have ever gone and even tried, and then along the way, the challenge to bring out even more in yourself.
When I consider my favorite May Club trips, I think they've all been the Die Hard trips. To me, they're They're special. They're unique. It's usually a smaller group, and that's not to say I don't like all the group and all the guys, but there's even more bonding done with fewer people, going through something even more extreme. And there's more celebration. There's more, almost more commonality or more camaraderie in a way. So to me, those are more unique and more special and even more enjoyable. Um, yeah, I think those are my favorite Make Club trips.
Die Hard really took it to a new level and created a whole new chapter for the May Club.
One of the guys that I quickly gravitated to was David Rutherford. We roamed together, we went fishing together, we hiked together, we golfed together. A great individual.
David's friendship was key to the start of the May Club. It was he and I going on the first May Club trip, and we had met while we were in college, and I was dating Danae, he was dating Rachel, and so we all kind of hung out together. I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding, and so he was someone that was a close friend, and that was something unique for me because I'd had trouble, building relationships after high school. When I was 13 years old, I went to this church camp with First Baptist Church Wheaton, and it was me and Tim Simcox and Tim Tanner and Keith Johnson and Doug Rummel, and we had a unique experience at church camp. I think just what I would call an encounter with the Holy Spirit, and then also just a kinship. Friendship grew out of that, and we spent a lot of time together over the next couple of years. We had people to talk to and people to share what we were going through, and I think that's really unique if you're 13 or 14 years old to find people that are serious about their faith, people that are intent about their friendships. And so I really learned a lot from them about building friendship, and certainly from Tim Simcox, I learned a great deal. And I'm really just fortunate to say that I'm still connected to Tim and Tim Tanner and Keith today. And
and get to spend a lot of time with Tim Simcox, which I'm very grateful for. And he's come on the May Club. So everything kind of fell, full circle of trying to recreate church camp. And I think everyone probably has those experiences at camp where they build these unique friendships.
Here's the thing, May Club, whenever it means something to you and you realize what you get out of it and the friendship, there's few men that, maybe you have a close friend or two, but really to have a group of guys, because at different times you need a different type of personality, a different person, and you want others to share in that. And so you want to bring people along. I've brought my nephew, I brought my brother Ty. You do bring people that you want to have what you have. You want them to have access to that strength, really, and total acceptance.
The men that make up the May Club, it's literally migrants to millionaires, right? So you have people from all walks of life that do all different kinds of work or all different kinds of businesses, or maybe retired, or maybe just starting their life, because the ages are from essentially late teens to late 60s. So that really adds some spice to it, where you can learn actually from anyone at any age you can learn from. And that makes it more interesting. You can be mentored and mentor someone at the same time. And that's a really unique thing.
I think we all want to be a part of something, and May Club is just a real opportunity for guys to be a part of each other's lives, to share a combination of people and personalities. And it's, I feel like there's so many people there. If there was anything I needed, I could call at any time, and I would have several people run in to say, I'm here, what do you need?
The guys at the May Club definitely taught me how to be intentional with relationships, how to not just talk to other guys and ask, how is your week? How is work? How's the wife? But really ask the dark questions of how are you doing, and meaning that, and being fully interested in what they have to say and what they're going through, and not shying away from when they tell you their dirty secrets and what kind of crap they're going through.
It's the thing that I can go back and I can talk to people about, non-May Club people, and they're in awe of the adventures that we've gone. Every time I've shared pictures or talked about the stories and adventures we have done.
We know that we can depend and call on one another. We're there for each other. Whenever my mom passed away, it was May Club that came together. May Club went out to West Texas to the funeral and was there for me and united around me and supported me, lifted me up, encouraged me, and I wasn't alone.
I walked down to the river where we were staying, and all these young guys are sitting around the fire. All the kids of the original May Clubs. And I see they have their own little thing happening. And speaking of David not seeing what happened, wow, we have a whole new generation of guys that might just take this on past what we've experienced and have their own May Club experiences together. And I don't know, maybe our grandkids end up underneath them at some point. But it was very encouraging, and it I guess warmed my heart. I don't know what the right word is to say.
Growing up with your dad being one of the co-founders of a group like the May Club, it's quite the weight to carry on. But I hope to do my best in the coming years to observe how to do it well, how to organize everything well, and most importantly, how to carry on this same passion and vigor of building meaningful friendships with other guys.
we've got to get much more intentional about friendship than we have been in the past, because it's so easy to become disconnected. The world's technology that was going to bring us all together sent us further apart. Men do get, really wrapped up in their work. Men get wrapped up in their families, and that's not a bad thing, but it is a bad thing if they don't have time to also build friendship as well. And so Make Club's this 5 days, an opportunity to step out of work and step out of family, step everything else, and go act like a boy and hang out with a bunch of other boys. And that, I think, is key to building friendship. Most people are just walking around waiting for someone to befriend them instead of reaching out and befriending themselves and taking that responsibility on themselves. And G.K. Chesterton, I think, has one of the greatest quotes to talk about that. This is what G.K. Chesterton said. He said, "How much larger would your life be if yourself could become smaller in it? If you could really look at men with common curiosity and pleasure, if you could see them walking as they are in their sunny selfishness and their virile indifference, you would begin to be interested in them because they were not interested in you. You would break out of this tiny and tawdry theater in which your own little plot is always being played out, and you would find yourself under a free sky in a street full of splendid strangers." Friendship begins with you reaching out, not waiting for someone to reach out to you. Friendship begins by caring about someone else, whether they care about you as deeply or not back. That is how friendship builds. And if you have this hope of having great friendships in your life, it will be because of the effort that you are putting forward. That's the purpose of the May Club, to build friendship and to be intentional about it.
Most May Club trips, I know, Don, you call me and you say, "Hey, Trevor, I'm planning all the rest of this. Can you please plan a golf trip and reach out to all the guys and set a tee time?" And I enjoy doing that part. Pick a golf course, we get up and we play. It is something that everybody actually enjoys when they get out there, and people really want to go and play more and more and more. But I hate playing golf and getting beat by Britt Lane as he walked around the golf course with cowboy boots on.
Yeah, I always liked the golfing, and one year I didn't have anything but my boots, and we're out there golfing in boots, and old Cody's out there in his boots, and I mean, it's just a bunch of cowboys.
Tell us what happened there.
Well, what happened there? Crappy golf.
Well, I think, Rod, maybe not funny that happened to me, but I have been a witness to funny things with the young bucks, and there's some things I just don't.
Singing Sweet Caroline, the Irish Kevin version, in a bar on Duval Street. Yeah, I can't ever hear that song again ever the same way.
You care to sing it?
No, I think that I don't think I should sing it, but those that know.
Sweet Caroline.
No, don't. No, we're not going to do that.
Ba, ba, ba.
Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, that's it.
You know, some things, what happens at May Club stays at May Club.
Because what happens on the May Club stays on the May Club, unless Don Owens tells them. So be careful.
There's been a series of events that maybe it's been embarrassing to some or not. I just don't really want to go down that road.
Swimming with the sharks. Not what you think. We've never swam with the sharks, except when some guys caught a shark in Galveston and threw him in the pool at the house we were staying at.
If you're not picked on in May Club, you're probably not well liked. Yeah. If you're picked on, you know you're in. You're locked in there, right?
We're at an event and something got canceled. So Don is asking everyone to vote on two different options. Trevor raises his hand and he's the only one who raised his hand. Cody glances over and sees it. He immediately shoots up his hand and says, I'm voting with the minority.
It's also my mom's birthday. She told me to give you a hug and a kiss.
We looked like frat boys. We were both wearing Magellans, Oakley's, camo hats. We come to the checkpoint and we're realizing, oh no, what happens if they check? You know, we got who knows how much money worth of guns in the bag. What are we gonna? And then we had, and at that point, we had coolers full of meat. We were bringing back 90%, to my knowledge, 90% or so of the meat from the trip. So it was a little stressful going through that checkpoint, but we didn't have any trouble.
It really was just an escape just from trying to get away from nagging wives at the time, because that's how we saw them, screaming children and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, that's not how we see them today. Hi, honey.
Wow. The hardest I've ever laughed in my life, before or since, was on a May Club event where we had just had an epic evening of sushi and sake bombs. A few of us stumbled into this German bar, and I had never laughed. There was a lot of laughing at people and a lot of laughing with people. I think John Pribble was mostly laughing at people.
And then the time on Grays and Tories when we got to the saddle, and again, the wind was just blowing. And we get to the saddle and we find this rock, and Don and I just sit behind it, and immediately we just hug each other. Not out of love, because we need the heat. And he's like, let's just keep going. And I'm like, no, we shouldn't keep going. He stands up. He's like a weeble wobble because of the wind. And I'm like, what are you doing? He can't hear me. So I'm waving my arms. He's waving his arms, and I'm not moving. I'm like, so he comes back down. He's like, what? And I'm like, you're going to die. So we decided it was best to turn around and go back.
John Pribble teaching me on my first May Club trip that if you are far enough away from a person that you can't see their face, then it is safe to go pee out in the woods because they can't see your pecker.
It was starting to get dark. We have no cell signal, and our batteries are almost to run dead. And at some point, we ended up in this small little Arkansas community that Wes kept referring to as Man Rape, Arkansas. Stop calling it that! Once we finally made it past all the meth labs, we still had like 10 more miles to go. And it was kind of panicky. And then here comes a truck. I was never so glad to see a familiar May Club face than on that dirt road. I think it was Britt Lane. And I can't remember who was with him, but man, they saved our lives.
One of the funniest moments for me on the May Club trip was myself and Don and Richard Sandlins went to climb La Plata. And we hike up and we're going to camp at like 11,500 feet and then finish hiking the next day. Richard wanted to camp. Don did not really want to camp. And I was sort of impartial to it. I kind of prefer to go and get back to the hotel, but I'm along for the ride. And so it starts raining, and we got our tents out and can't light a fire. I look over, and it's the first time in my life I've ever seen Don Owens pout. And I just took a picture of it, and I still laugh at that photo every time I see it to this day.
The tradition is that new guys who come on the May Club on their very first time, they get stuck paying the bill for all the rest of the guys. And there's been a few times where there's been multiple guys, so they split it between them. But Jared had it all on his own, and it was expensive.
We had what they called a long lunch. It was a 4-hour lunch. There were about 20 of us there. And sometime during that lunch, one of the members made a song about me.
Jared, he buys the meals. Jared, he makes the deals.
We had such a blast, and by the end of that group, I felt like I was a part of it, so much so that I ended up buying lunch for all 20 of the guys there, which was quite a hefty price tag. And after that trip, I decided it was something that I wanted to do.
Then there's the Fados, which are extra amplified if you stay up too late having too much fun on the night before. You'll need to ask Don Owens what a Fado is. I expect there's going to be many more memories to come in the years ahead. It's been so much adventure, so much laughter, so much fun.
So all of us started having kids, and we wanted to do something with our kids that was May Clubbish. So we started a May Club trip father-daughter. We started a May Club trip father-son. And I really miss those because my kids are all grown and married now. But when we were doing those were just a blast. And just to watch the kids, live life together, to go on experiences together, to kind of see this mini version of May Club beginning to blossom. And then to just spend time with the fathers. It kind of gave different people opportunities to step into May Club that couldn't participate in other events, but they, could bring the kids along. So father-daughter and father-son have been awesome events throughout the years.
I can't talk about May Club without going back to my daughter Stephanie. There was a father-daughter camp out at Mineral Wells State Park. So I got up early and decided I was going to take Stephanie on Saturday morning. So we left at 5 o'clock in the morning, got out there in time for breakfast, and I'm just sort of enjoying being there. Of course, Stephanie's in her wheelchair, and I'm, just enjoying being there. And so here comes, I think I'm standing there talking to Eric, and here comes Cody. And Cody says, "What are y'all up to?" Because Cody does. And, well, we're just kind of standing here. And he says, "Well, they're down there rappelling down the cliff. Have you been rappelling yet?" And I said, "No." And he said, "You need to go down there. I think Eric and I can handle this. I think we can take care of Stephanie here." And I'm kind of like, wow. Then here comes Donnie along. And he says, "Between the three of us, we got this." So I take off down to where the rappelling is, and just had a good time, and come back to check on Stephanie. And she was at a good place at that time. She was very happy, and they had her fully entertained, or she had them entertained. I'm not sure which, but it was just a feeling that went all over me that, I guess coming into this, I was a little, with Stephanie, there were a lot of things I couldn't do, just because I couldn't get out and do things. I was maybe sort of isolated in some ways in my mind. And it's kind of like, man, these guys are great. I mean, it gave me a real opportunity to do some things.
Up before the sun every single day, you gave me a home and gave me my name. He'd sing Robert Earl and Sweet Baby James. Yeah, he built a life on Amazing Grace. I was born to break every single rule. With a reckless heart, sometimes a fool. I was hell to raise, but he kept his cool. Showed me love will always follow through. I can see it all in his weathered eyes, full of strength and love and sacrifice. Oh, I've spent my days living on the run, but now I know it, I'm my father's son. Got a steady job, he's a steady man. Over 30 years with a wedding band. I bet a wild child wasn't in his plans, but every part of him's a part of who I am. I can see it all in his weathered eyes, full of strength and love and sacrifice. Oh, I've spent my days living on the run, but now I know it, I'm my father's son. Yeah, I know that I'm my father's son.
And I'd say one unique aspect of the May Club trip is the house itself, and all the guys having one place to congregate, and simple as have some snacks, a couple of drinks. A few guys can step into a corner or sit on a couch and have a chat. A group can hang together and play a game. A group can sit by the pool or by a fire pit and chat about what's going on in their life. It's a hub, basically, for everyone to start in the morning and go off and go golfing or hiking or canyoneering or rafting or just read a book at the house if you want. But as people come in, everyone can connect. What have we done today? How was it? What was your day like? And actually to share and enjoy each other's experience, even if you weren't on that experience. I think the May Club house, everyone being in one spot, really adds to the May Club trip.
I'm not much of a drinker. What is it? Oh, it didn't come out good. That was a false alarm, man.
It's a good day for YouTube.
This year, 2024, is our 30th year, our 30th annual trip. When you consider the annual trip, the 5-day trip in May, when you put the diehards in, when you put the father-daughters, father-sons in, when you put what we called mini camps in, where we go out to, like Cliff had this property out in East Texas, we would go out there for a weekend. You put all this together, it's well over 75 trips over a period of these 30 years. That's a lot of time with these guys and a lot of opportunity to build friendship.
Probably one of my favorite people is Darren Kirby. He's always in a good mood, and he has a great laugh, and he laughs at the dumb things I say, which then makes me laugh. And you just can't help but have a good time with him. He might talk you to death about crypto and other weird things, but he asks good questions too. He's always inquisitive, wants to know and learn, and I've enjoyed getting to know Kirby outside of the May Club, and he and I have had hours of discussions, actually, in the car or on the phone, and that's likely a relationship I never would have had if it wasn't for the May Club.
Kind of go with those who are kind of the most like you or have the most in common. But one individual really, of course, you know, Richard Sammons. I could name it Cody, he's great. But the one that was just really not close to me, Charles Server. And very mild manner. I'm dramatic and I get excited and all that. And so we're so different. And through May Club, Charles and I have really gotten close. And he is a really close friend. And when I came over here today, I mean, we happened to be coming in the gate together and we stopped. And I mean, just hugged on each other. And really glad to see each other. I mean, I was like, you sound sucker. That was you that pulled out in front of me. Now I'm eating your dust. Oh, so yeah, I would have never been I mean, there's nothing in common with us to where we would have ever had a relationship at all. And now we have this close relationship, and it's May Club.
Charles was a great addition to the May Club around the time that David was getting busy in the ministry and couldn't join us as often. And, you know, Charles has really been the face of that love to the group, that most sincere kindness you've ever seen. Expressed it differently than David ever did, but he has then been able to help the group still have the wholeness that it wouldn't have had without Davida. And so we were really blessed to have him join us around that same time.
Richard Sammons was an early comer to May Club. I think his first trip was 99. And my friendship with Richard was very helpful in expanding my world, because Richard had traveled the world. He worked for Hilti. He was in Liechtenstein all the time. Took me for the first time over to Europe, which was awesome. And, you know, gave me, you know, the guts I needed to take my family and drive all over Europe and introduce them to Europe. But thanks to Richard, my world really grew because of his introducing it to me. He also introduced me to a lot of great wines, which I'm very thankful for too. But Richard is calm, cool, and collect, and he's been with us for quite some time, and he really makes up a core of May Club.
You know, one of the funniest characters in May Club is Cody Stafford. He and I have this bond, and here he is, this, forgive me for saying this, Cody, this country hick. But there are just some guys you gravitate to. on a regular basis. And the moment we get together, he and I just go at it, just having fun with each other. And I hated that he hasn't been on a trip in a couple of years, and I'm going to do my darndest to get him to come next year, because I want that. I want that guy there. He makes it. Cody Stafford is one of the guys that he'll walk into a room and he'll liven up the room, just with his accent, his mannerisms. He's probably the only guy that I know in May Club that will walk around butt naked and don't care.
Cody is just, he doesn't intend to be funny, but when he says something, it just comes out that way.
I think it goes without saying, one of the most influential guys in the whole group is my dad, Don Owens III. And his passion for creating this group of men has this awesome sense of adventure and makes all of life an adventure, to where it's no longer just dreaming of being this guy on top of a mountain that you would see on a newspaper or in a book, but becoming those men that are just striving with all kinds of just vigor and aggressive to grab life by the reins and just experience all of it. I think that's one thing that's my dad has really shown me, of how to really experience life and to be adventurous with everything you do, and to fight against being boring and mundane.
I met Trevor Sabsuk when he lived right across the street from me. We both had little kids, and invited him to come on to the May Club trip. And he came, and he just kept coming year after year. And Trevor's been a lot of fun to hang out with. He moved up to northern Michigan, and so whenever I go up to northern Michigan, I usually get to go on some kind of excursion with him, whether it be up in Canada, in Quebec, or whether it be, in the UP. And so Trevor's friendship over the year has meant a lot to me, and I'm very grateful for him.
Brian Serba is another one. He's usually the last one to go to bed and the first one to get up, and he's always looking for a place to fish or to go hunt, or he's got to be doing something all the time. It's kind of like, oh, I'm going to go drop a line in. Anybody want to go? Well, at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's when they bite the best.
I've often said with May Club, I like going anywhere where Richard is. To me, if I ever get into trouble, Richard is my voice of reason. And I like being there with him. I like his demeanor, how calm he is. And I'll challenge myself with him, because I know he's not going to have me make a bad step.
I think very much like Trevor, I'm still always a little bit of the safety officer. I'll take it out to the edge, but I always know where that edge is and what the safety line is.
Another great storyteller in the group is Eric Fleming. I don't know how somebody dated so many people before they got married, but he's got, all you have to do is say a name, you just go Jennifer, Alyssa, Sarah. He'll have a story about one of them. I don't know where they all come from or how I had all the time, but that's pretty funny, especially around a fire. So Eric's pretty funny that way, but he's also the kind of guy who would give you the shirt off his back. And because of Eric, we've met a lot of different people like Duran and Duncan and Joe, and the list goes on of the people that Eric has introduced us to and brought into the group. So very thankful for Eric.
I think one of the biggest impacts I've had through the May Club would probably be the mentorship I've had with Don, and the fact that even at me at Cliff's place, probably at 19 at Cliff's Ranch or the Broken Bow trip, I've always felt welcome, even though I probably have had the least amount to provide to the group, or really to anyone in the group. With Don, there's been that mentorship, whether it's going through a book, kind of some guidance, going through life, and then that constant friendship, probably that's been one of the more impactful people in the group.
One thing that's been real fun to grow up with, starting in like the father-son kind of time period, and then now being in the full-on like May Club age to where, you know, I can go on trips as well as walking alongside Garrison. He and I both share this relationship of having dads been in part of the group for years, and then now we get to be a part of it and both enjoy in what our dads have done and what they do, but then also be able to still have our own experiences to where it's no longer just us following along with whatever's planned for the day. It's us being able to make our own plans and go adventuring ourselves.
Britt Lane, what a giving, caring individual. He gets up there and he wants to make sure everybody is comfortable. He will go out of his way to make sure everybody has the best time, whether he has a good time or not. I'm so thankful for him for making it easier for a lot of us from time to time.
There was no way you could separate the ideal of David Rutherford, Davida, we call him, at the May Club, from the May Club. He was as much a part of the May Club as anyone else was. When I came on the third or fourth trip, the very first time I had come, and it was already beginning to catch traction as what it would become. And David was one of the key members, and it was about the special part he brought to it. You know, the May Club's very much about adventure and doing things while you're away, and of the spice I spoke about earlier of those things we do. But David was really the spirit of love that stayed there to temper all of that into something even more perfect than it was. If you ever heard Davida pray, you knew that he was the spirit of love. I've never seen anyone that could speak to our Lord with a heart that was so absolutely loving and open and caring. It's the way he prayed to God always inspired me and left me in awe. And he was that other ingredient to the May Club. He would do the adventures with us, and he would go and do the things, but he was always as close as a man could ever do to come to being the mother of the group, to keep the love in the house. And that's who David was, not just at the May Club, but in life. You couldn't have a more loving friend than David and Davida. And in those first 10 years or so, coming with him there, right? And we'd go and try and do too much, and he'd say, y'all go on up, I'm going to stay here on the porch and read my book. But when you'd come back, you know, he'd be right there in the middle of it to let everyone else. That was one of the core ingredients to who we were that first decade.
Well, his heart is bigger than he is. I mean, just pure love.
David was a unique person. He's a very kind person. I always consider myself very aggressive. David was just quiet and kind. And he was always looking to, you know, keep the peace and solve the problem. And, you know, I'm looking to always flare my hands around and be dramatic. So he's a good friend to have. And, you know, from that first May Club, you know, he was working at Honey Baked Hams at the time, and he really wanted to be a pastor. And he grew into that, went to seminary and started working at First Baptist Church, Fort Worth. And so got to do what he really wanted to do in life. And that kind of took him a little bit further away from May Club because, you know, a pastor's life is always a very busy life, and there's just a lot that goes with it. You're focusing on your church and the people within it. So probably David kind of faded out of May Club trips about 2009, 2010, and after that it was really hard to get him to come back in. But we missed him a lot, and we always do this thing at Toast Night. So Toast Night is one of the nights where we all grab our drinks and we toast the oldest and the youngest, and who's been on the most trips, and we find different things to toast. But we always start with a toast to David, who I always call Davida. And Davida being, I don't know if it really is or not the Greek name for David, but that's what we thought it was. So we always called him Davida. So the first toast always went to Davida.
One toast to our friend David Rutherford, who's not here tonight. Davida! Davida! As is tradition, the first toast to Davida. Davida! And the first one always goes to Davida. To Davida! To Davida! To Davida! To Davida!
Unfortunately, David had an illness in 2021, I think in September of 2021, and he passed away from that. And so that is certainly a sadness that I have and that others have in the group, that David won't be on this particular journey with us. Those of us of faith believe that there's another journey that we'll be going on, and David will be there for that. But we truly miss him, and the first toast still goes to Davida, and always will as long as this core group is together. So I miss David greatly, and there's others that we've lost in the group too. Jason King passed away fairly early on, and Jason was a kind and a hilarious person. He was a mountain of a man, and he was a funny guy. Zach Oren came on some of our mini trips that we used to have out in East Texas, and Zach passed away in a car accident. And then also Jeff Lowry. Jeff Lowry died of cancer. He was struggling with that on the May Club trip that he was on, and did all that we could to accommodate him. I think he caught his first shark on that trip, and then flew in his first private plane on that trip. So he had a lot of first, even though he was dealing with a lot. And so we certainly miss those folks and miss them being a part of it. But as goes with fraternity, in time, all of us will be moving on. And so it's why I love having our kids involved, having our sons involved, and having young men come into the group so that they can keep the tradition alive. But certainly miss David, and certainly miss him being a part of May Club.
And may the 28th year of the May Club be a benediction of Davida. And may our toast to our fine friend now and every year forward be an elegy. With that, we'll have our toast.
Good night, Don.
Very nice. To Davida.
You have a good time, Davida?
Loved it. Loved it. How dirty is my face?
It's pretty dirty.
Pretty bad. Had a great time. Great.
Don has kind of been the pastor to this group in many ways. I can remember when we were in Arkansas that Todd said that he wanted to be baptized, and I remember Richard had already left, and somebody called him and told him, he said, just put it off for a minute, I'm turning around and coming back. I want to be there for that. When Stephanie died, May Club had been a big part of my life, and Stephanie certainly a part of that. And I called Don. I said, Don, would you handle the service for me? Be glad to. And so Don, again being the pastor of the group, did the funeral service for Stephanie. Meant a lot to me.
I'm pleased that when you look at all the guys that participate today and have participated over the years, we have not just Christians, but we have atheists, and we have Muslims, and we've had Hindus, and we've had agnostics, and you can go on through the list. And I think that's wonderful, because I think that's what the world looks like. And then I think that also, if you want any chance to share faith, well, then you have to be with people who don't think like you think and are looking at the world a different way or through a different lens, a different worldview. And so while it's not a faith-based group, it is an opportunity to talk about faith, and that happens on just about every trip in some form or fashion. So I'm grateful that happens there. And then as people take an interest in faith, as they take an interest in Jesus, you get an opportunity to kind of pull them into other groups and other places to help them learn more if it's something that they have an interest in. But I've been asked by pastors, why I haven't made it a church event. And my direct answer has always been, so I don't screw it up. Men want to come and act like men. They want to drink beer. They want to have cocktails. They want to use 4-letter words. They want to go fishing. They want to go kayaking. They want to go climb mountains. And you need to make a space for that. The opportunity to share faith or to learn from others comes in those moments while you're there doing those things together. And I look at John Paul II when he was a priest in Poland. He couldn't get people to come to Mass. So he started taking people hiking. And while he's taking them hiking, they're talking about faith-based things. And then they would be interested in going to Mass and checking out what was going on in the church. And so it's really a wonderful way to meet people, to know someone, to get to know them. We've had a couple of guys that have come to faith and have asked to get baptized on the May Club trip. We had Lonnie Jones, Richard Sammons, Todd Stafford. So, that's a very unique experience, and it really functions like a church would. Like, here's a fellowship, and here's people I know, and I want to set an example in front of them. And so it's been wonderful to have those experiences, to see people come to faith, and to see them immediately. It's like when Philip's talking to the eunuch in the New Testament, and he's sharing with him about the Bible, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get baptized, and there's water. What keeps me from it?" And so we've had some of those experiences on May Club. It's very special. It's very, it's such a holy thing that you sometimes just think, how in the world does God let me participate in something like this?
As strange as it sounds, everybody grab a beer.
Can I use a strawberry daiquiri?
Yes, dear.
How do you feel? Good, man. I'm so happy for you, man. That's what we do.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
Good for you. Totally got it.
So that's a little bit about the May Club from all of us. My hope is that you would consider starting your own. And whether, it's a guys group, ladies group. My wife has her own May Club. It's called Road Dogs. And it's ladies that she's met over the years and a core group of people. So it's something everyone can do. And it doesn't have to necessarily be, if adventure is not your thing, there's other things to do. You can, if it's going to the beach, if it's, some particular hobby everyone shares, it can all be built off of that. But if you're looking to build friendship with intention, find that something and invite people to come do it with you. And the more that you create that, the better society will be and the better communities will be. Because if you build all those memories together and you have all those stories together, friendship just becomes this beautiful thing. Aristotle called it affection. And I think that's a great way to look at friendship. It is an affectionate relationship I have with these guys. I miss them when they're not there. I hug them first moment I see them. We share everything about what's going on in our lives. And that affection that Aristotle talks about, I think, is just key to having true and real friendship. So if there's anything after watching this video, I hope it is that you will be intentional about friendship in your life by being the person that reaches out, by being the person that starts something, and by taking an interest in those strangers that are walking around you.
I met a man named Melchizedek. He was a good man, wandering lonely in the desert. He invited me to stay. Said I would learn to love the space. I knew a woman, her name was Jezebel. She was a wild one, a wild one. She said, come out and we could have fun. And then she wanted me to go. She couldn't stand getting too close. And I'm curious who I'll meet next. Who among them I will love best. That depends upon the context, doesn't it, doesn't it? I knew a girl, her name was Mary. She was a sweet child. Her heart was broken, seen from miles wide, like the moon over the world. I knew a man from Golgotha. He was a giving man, a giving man. He promised he would break my every day. In every way I use the word. The wall, the water, and the world. And I'm curious who I'll meet next. Who among them I will love best. That depends upon the context, doesn't it, doesn't it? If I keep it honest, David, will you play with me? I will smile within the pictures and then let the music breathe. We'll let laughing in the lyrics, setting prose in all its pain. Leaving distance from those cynics, we will keep them all at bay. And we'll sing through the noise. Joy, joy, joy. I am dressed for the occasion. I am in my Sunday best. Worried through my altercation, you've forgotten the address. David, keep on playing, he is bound to show sometime. Take on all of the problems like he turns mud into sight. And we'll sing through the noise. Joy, how I came into this place. I know the affirmation brought their promises of fame. Could my love for spotlight bring your greater love for grace? When the shows are all over, you're the reason why I stay. We'll sing through the noise. Joy, joy, joy. David was the audience, always on your mind. Were you looking for connection? Was it hard to find? I am dressed for the occasion. I am in my Sunday best. I will play my heart out and forget about the rest. And we'll sing through the noise. Joy, joy, joy. We'll sing through the noise. Joy, joy, joy.
Am I in the camera? 2004, 2005.
I'm gonna stand here so I can feel short. I just waiting for the joke. Oh, thank you for that. Hey, Wisdom, you don't have to laugh at everything.
I'm just laughing because it's usually Monty that starts that.
So there I was. Hey, I beat you up mountains. Yeah. Short legs move faster.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you left me on one that you
Lower
wanted to go
center of
climb.
gravity.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
For our new guys, this is toast night. So we have a few regular toasts that we do in honor of a few individuals. So the first toast that we always do is to the guy that started all this with me, who is not here. That's Dobby Da. So here is to Dobby Da.
Dobby Da. Dobby Da.
May he one day return. Secondly is to the new guys. We got two new guys this year. We got Lane and we got Mohammed. Am I missing anybody who's new? I know Garrison's been here before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, to Lane and Mohammed. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Make Club. And now for the guys who are here that have done this the longest with me. And once again, it's a tie. Darren and Richard. Which started with me in 1999. So cheers to both of you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. And then it's to the youngest. How old are you?
He's looking out. 23.
23. Well, the 23 years in the Garrison.
Wow.
Cheers.
Cheers to Garrison.
Don't we all miss that? And then we go to the oldest. I don't know.
Charles smiles with a grin.
What are you at now, Charles?
66.
66.
He's got it.
Anyone got Charles beat? Terry's not here to beat you?
No, but I like some of these guys to try to keep up with him.
That's right. Well, here's to Charles.
Charles.
See if I'm missing anything. Am I missing anyone?
To the shortest guy here.
Yeah.
To Don. Keep us going.
You're doing it again.
It's legal. It's legal here.
All right.
The shortest and the
Oh,
highest.
man.
Oh, Eric. I'm supposed to be laughing.
He's gonna have to figure this stuff out.
Here's Eric. Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's. Oh, you know, it's to the guys that aren't with us anymore. Jeff, Jason. No. Jeez, man. It's not that kind of going.
Sorry, I got confused.
Ain't the first time.
Yeah.
Man.
Jeff, I can't remember Jeff's last name now. Help me. Lowry, right?
Lowry.
Jeff Lowry, and then Jason King.
Jason
King, who was with us in like 2001, right, Trevor?
Yes.
Yep.
And,
And what was the phrase he cornered?
Elkalicious.
Elkalicious.
This is Elkalicious. Yeah. He was a fun guy. So to Jeff and to Jason.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Great fishing with Jeff.
Yeah, I think that was a great trip for him. Absolutely. That was good.
When you say he's not with us,
I mean, they died.
yeah, let me make sure.
You got it right.
Jeff started out rough. And
yeah, you don't want to be in that category.
How do you think you made the cut?
Someone has to die.
I hope you're happy with yourself.
Well, you know. So tomorrow's sacrifice will be.
I was told it was a hunting game. I was supposed to go run.
Shelton here. Just wanted to take this opportunity to send a video over to you. I know that I'm not going to make the May Club movie, and that's actually okay. I understand the project is about what the May Club has done, accomplishments, and all of the guys who have been involved, and all of the trips that have been taken. And I know that I haven't been able to go on one of those trips yet. But this provided me an opportunity to send you a personal message that says, thank you. You've been a friend who has stuck around for a long time. I've known you and Danae around 23 years, give or take a year or two. But you've been a huge influence in my life. You've encouraged me to do things that I hadn't done before, climbing mountains, hiking around on trails, kind of living that life of adventure that John Eldredge encourages people to do. I have done lots of things with your advice, and there are some things that I've done going against your advice, but I've learned from those things. But I thank you for introducing me to old philosophers, to a mathematician who had a pretty good take on theological views as we sat around cups of coffee in downtown Fort Worth. So to you, I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate you, love you. I mean that because you have done a lot for me. You've given me so many things that nobody else would. And one of those things is a true and lasting friendship over time and over distance. So, good luck with the project, and hopefully the next May Club trip next year, maybe I'll be on it. But one more time, thanks, Don. I appreciate it.